passée, vous visitiez Toronto, vous n'étiez pas les favoris pour l'emporter. Cette année, c'est tout le contraire. C'est Toronto qui se déplace pour ce match-là, puis c'est vous autres qui avez terminé premier dans l'Est. Est-ce que, dans votre état d'esprit pour aborder ce match-là, ça change quoi que ce soit au game?
Ça ne change pas l'état d'esprit. La situation va être différente. On sait qu'on va avoir la foule de notre côté. On va s'attendre sûrement à un compte silencieux de l'offensive. Mais l'approche, l'exécution, la semaine de pratique reste vraiment la même. T'sais, on a trouvé une recette qui fonctionnait pour nous l'année passée sur le niveau de compétition qu'on avait en pratique, l'atmosphère qu'on avait dans le vestiaire, puis on a adhéré à la même chose cette année. Puis c'est la même après, pas la même exécution, mais c'est la même préparation. Après ça, c'est aller chercher la même exécution dans la game.
Vous arriviez en série l'année passée sur une lancée. Cette année, le dernier tiers de la saison était un peu plus, peut-être pas difficile, mais je veux dire, les résultats étaient moins probants. Est-ce que ça vous avez ça en arrière de la tête ou c'est tout effacé avec la fin de la saison, puis là, c'est les éliminatoires?
Je te dirais que c'était vraiment de semaine en semaine. On n'est pas en train de repenser, de vivre dans le passé. En ce moment, on a un match demain, fait on n'est pas en train de repenser comment la fin de saison a été. Qu'est-ce qui est le focus, c'est Toronto. Puis, le dernier match qu'on a eu, je trouve qu'on a bien joué les trois facettes. Bon, le résultat n'a pas été une victoire, mais c'est une fin un peu absurde que j'ai jamais vue dans le CFL. Mais à part de ça, la confiance que l'équipe a est au bon niveau. Puis on est très excités de jouer un match, d'être de retour dans jouer un match qui compte puis qui veut dire quelque chose.
Dans une carrière, il y a des matchs qu'on dit, on joue au football pour ces matchs-là. J'ai l'impression que le match de demain, c'est un peu ça. C'est à domicile aussi. T'sais, à quel point, comme humain, tu peux savourer l'opportunité de disputer un match important comme celui-là devant la foule locale, malgré le travail à accomplir, là, que évidemment, tu es focusé sur la job à faire, mais à quel point tu savoures l'opportunité de disputer un gros match à domicile comme ça?
C'est drôle que tu en parles parce que sur le moment, je ne dirais pas que tu le savoures parce que tu es tellement focusé sur qu'est-ce que tu as à faire. C'est beaucoup par après que tu te réalises du moment puis tu réalises quel moment c'était. Tu sais, comme moi, la semaine de Coupe Grey l'année passée, j'ai pas vraiment pensé à ça, j'ai pas vraiment savouré. J'étais tellement focus sur l'objectif que par après, c'est là que j'ai pu vraiment en profiter. Puis c'est la même chose en ce moment. Je suis conscient que c'est quelque chose de gros. Je suis très heureux d'avoir cette finale de l'Est à Montréal. Mais le focus n'est pas sur cette belle histoire-là. Ça fait 12 ans. Le focus, c'est vraiment, on a une job à faire demain. C'est un gros match-up. C'est pas une game qui va être facile. Ça va être une game très compétitive contre une très bonne équipe. On doit être à 100%, c'est ça le focus.
Moi, de la foule montréalaise, à quoi ça peut ressembler plus de 23 000 spectateurs au stade précédent de Molson demain? Là?
C'est électrisant pour vrai. C'est tellement quelque chose de spécial, surtout de l'avoir vécu plus jeune, d'avoir vu c'était quoi cette atmosphère-là, puis t'es 15 ans, 20 ans presque plus tard, puis t'as la même atmosphère, un différent logo, de différentes couleurs, mais ça reste quelque chose, on dirait, d'intemporel, cette foule-là. Puis je suis tellement excité de pouvoir, d'être un des joueurs. Sur le moment, comme j'ai dit, je ne savoure pas parce que j'ai une job à faire, mais c'est par après que tu réalises, hey, je suis chanceux de faire ça. Puis d'avoir notre foule, moi, je trouve qu'on a les meilleurs partisans. On a probablement les meilleurs partisans de la CFL. Puis les avoir avec nous, le bruit qu'on fait, c'est quelque chose de vraiment spécial. C'est quelque chose que je ne vais jamais prendre pour acquis d'être sur ce terrain-là puis être avec cette foule-là.
I've thought a lot about that East Division final this week and the Argos' first drive and how it looked like they were going to score until their quarterback basically threw the ball right to you. How much did that change the outcome of that game?
Well, just so this is where I'll talk about it, but we actually did move on. We're not last year. We're this year. We're focused on this game. But for sure, it's a 14-point swing. You're aware of that. But I've watched this game because we studied Toronto this week, and the truth is, just a few drives afterward, they were back in the end zone. They were in the high red zone, then the low red zone, and we had a big stop. So it's accumulation of multiple play. I would say that I don't attribute that victory to one play because that's not how football is. You know, it's a multiple. It's like we say football can be counted on 6 plays,
Yes.
and that was one of the 6.
Yes.
But we needed those 5 more plays.
Do you think you can get into his head if he commits an early turnover tomorrow?
I mean, the thing with Chad Kelly is he is really a great quarterback, and you've seen last year the regular season have, and I'm prepared for the best of him because I don't prepare for the if we can get in his head because it won't do us good, right? If you expect for him to crumble but he doesn't, then I'm preparing for him being 100%, being locked in 60 minutes of football and playing his best football. And that's what I'm expecting him to do. And if we're preparing for that, we'll be right in a better position than if we hopefully try to get in his head and try to make him mistakes.
Look, I realize the position you play, you're the last line of defense, so a lot of guys have to get a lot of yards before they come to you. But can you explain the fact that in each of those 3 games they rush for more than 100 yards?
I mean, they got a great offensive. They got a great O-lines, great scheme, and a great running back and Kenyon Carey. So that would be that would be our mandate. We definitely have to stop the run. They're a great team, and I'm confident that we'll be able to do this job.
And how do you overcome the layoff and the lack of momentum and the way the team played down the stretch?
You know, momentum is something that can be switched at any moment. You know, you need one spark, and the momentum is a switch. So just try to go find that one spark.
Thank you. So you have the mustache again, much like you did last season at this time of year. So, I mean, are you a superstitious guy?
As the wise words of Michael Scott, I'm a little stitious. But to tell you the truth, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it's one of the things I think that brings us together as a unit. You'll see a lot of guys rocking a gnarly mustache throughout this playoff run, and something that we found a lot of fun last year. But, you know, a lot of it is the playoffs, but also Movember's a big thing as well, right? So, and it's about cancer and how much it sucks and your pride and just letting people know that you're there for them. It's turned into a fun thing in the playoffs, but obviously it has a deeper meaning. But anything our locker room can do to make it fun, we find ways to do that. And I think that's what separates our locker room from other locker rooms is the cohesiveness and the way that we gel off each other.
You have mentioned in the past that you're not a big fan of bye weeks because of momentum and things like that. And now, yet again, you and this team is you know, it's half full, half empty type of thing, catch-22. You play to finish first, but now you're coming off a bye week too.
Yeah,
and
this
I
is.
know you practiced last week.
Exactly right. So that's exactly what I'm going to say.
You didn't play last week.
Well, a normal CFL bye week, everybody goes home, right? Everybody goes to their places. You get 5-7 days off. Then you come back and you feel like you've been out of your routine. And I think that's why sometimes coming off a bye week, you come out a little bit more lethargic because it takes you a little bit to get into a routine. When you're here the whole time and you're grinding and you're practicing through, yes, we didn't play the game, but we stayed in our routine and we spent a lot of time on Toronto and Ottawa because we had that privilege to do it. But to tell you the truth, going into this week's of practice, I felt like a lot of guys were way more locked in, way more momentum because we ran a lot of plays, at least offensively, we ran a lot of plays throughout that bye week that we kept installed throughout this week. So it's not like all of a sudden Toronto won and we installed 100 new plays that we haven't repped. There was a lot of carryover from that. I don't call it a bye week. I call it more of a off week. And I think we got much better through that. Every head coach is different in the way they've approached it. And Coach Maas's approach was to make sure that we get our work in and we work hard. And it's something that I haven't done in the past with other head coaches. And so I think it's going to pay dividends for us, but only time's going to tell on Saturday. And I think it's one of those things where you learn from each and every year as a coach, as a player. But to be in this position, and have this opportunity, we're going to learn a lot from it. But I think we handled it the right way.
You were happy with the way you played against Winnipeg. You feel like the hamstring and the timing and all those other things are behind you now?
Yeah, I think offensively, I thought we played a really good game against an extremely talented defense, and Toronto's got a great defense. And look, everybody wants to talk about Ottawa and how much yards and points they put up on them. They had 2 turnovers that equated to 14 points, which is a big swing in a playoff game. And Ottawa, if you looked at it, that was one of the teams that scored a lot of points on them throughout the year. Other teams, you see them not scoring very many points. So we know it's a very challenging defense, but we know if we play our game plan and try not to do too much, me especially offensively, and don't turn the ball over and give their offense a short field, we'll have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, and that's all you can ask for in an East Division final.
I know last season is past, it's over with, but has it dawned on you how eerily similar the 2 scenarios are between last season and this season? They were first, they had that incredible record. You're first, you have the league's best record. You upset them. I'm sure they're looking for revenge.
Yeah, a lot of people have talked to me about that over the course of the last week, and I thought about it, and to tell you the truth, I think we're in a better spot than they were in last year, and the reason why is because we understood the mentality it took to go over there and win it, and so we understand what their mentality has to be to come into our stadium and win that football game. So that experience that we have as veterans, a lot of the veterans that carry over, we understood what it took, how locked in we were last year in order to beat the best team in the CFL, and so we kind of know what it takes in order to win or lose this game tomorrow. Now, they're going to give us our best. They're going to come out fired up, juiced up. They've beat us twice on the year as well, and so they're going to have confidence that they can do it again. But this crowd's going to be electric. I think the way that we're gelling as a team and the off week that we had is really going to pay dividends, like I talk about, into the game. I think the most important thing about this game is starting fast offensively. It's something we haven't done late down the stretch. It's not saying that if we don't start fast, the game's over, because we understand how to play when we don't start fast, but I think it'll just put us in a better position late in the game to win the football game if we can start fast offensively.
So is that going to be the pivotal factor in your mind, that you're the defending champions and you've been here and you know what it takes to reach the Grey Cup?
I think with the veteran locker room that we have and the way that Danny and Coach Maas have built this team with retaining a lot of guys from last year, we're going to lean on that experience of understanding what it takes to win football games, especially in the playoffs, what it takes to win meaningful football games late in the stretch last year. And even this year, when we had to win football games, we won the football game. And so this team doesn't shy away from big moments or big games. And we understand that we got to play our best football. And it's not always perfection, but like Dequoy just talked about when he was up here, the game comes down to 6 plays. And what I tell the offensive unit, don't let yourself be the reason why we lose this game in one of those 6 plays. You don't know which one it's going to be, so empty the tank, and at the end of the game, the outcome's the outcome. You could play your best game and find yourself on the losing end, but as long as you put your best foot forward, that's all you can ask for.
Who decided it was 6 games and not 5, or 6 plays and not 5 or 7?
That's a good question. I think.
Don't answer, it's fine.
That's a good question, but I'm still going to answer it. I think in the CFL you run more plays than other teams, right? So usually you grew up, you talked about 5 plays. You get in the CFL, you run more offensive plays. You're just on the field a little bit more, the way the game and the rules are. So I think we bumped it up to 6 because we get a little bit more plays.
We remember last year your beautiful speech before on the road of the Grey Cup. Do you feel that you need to talk to the guys again before this Eastern final?
I talk to the guys every day 4. We have our walkthrough in this room right here, and usually I'm the one to break us up, and I usually have something for them. I know a lot of guys look forward to it. Obviously, there's no media in there, so it doesn't get out, which I like personally because there's no buildup or no pressure on me to come up with this incredible speech. But a lot of guys always come up to me and they're like, another great Cody speech. And when you hear things like that, you just know you're rallying your troops. You're getting your guys fired up. And so the message today was simple: is I think this game is won and lost with physicality. I think they're a very physical unit, and I think we're a physical unit as well. So the team that can out-physical the other opponent is going to have a better chance to win. And then also the team that checks their emotions at the door. It's going to be a very emotional game. It's going to be an electric crowd like I talked about. Playoff games always ride a little bit more emotionally. And so when you let your emotions kind of cloudy your mind and your judgment and your decision making, that's when I think you run into some situations where you're not playing your best best football. So that was my message. Yeah, it's always one of those things where when I look back and I'm done playing, I'm always going to, it's one of the things I'm going to miss is giving those speeches to rally the troops and get the guys fired up and find creative ways to inspire people.
Cody, last year you guys kind of rallied around the disrespect that was around you. When you look at the narrative around this game, people talk about Toronto having momentum, you guys being rested. Does that kind of do the same thing for you?
Absolutely. It's almost like we're in the same situation. A lot of people want to talk about how we were flipping roles, right? But for us, it feels like the same situation. Everybody wanted to talk about Toronto all week last year. And going into this game, it seems like everyone wants to talk about Toronto. So it's lit a fire under the guys. I'll be honest with you, lit a fire under me. There's a narrative that has been written personally that I've seen and has lit a fire under me. And so I just want to go out there and play clean football. I think this game comes, like I said, comes down to physicality, but also turning the ball over. If I can protect the ball for our team and end every drive, every series with a kick, whether it's a punt, a field goal, or an extra point, I think we'll be in a good spot to win a football game. But if I'm out there recklessly because I want to prove everybody wrong and I just want to throw the ball down the field and you turn the ball over, that's not going to help this team. Helping this team is going to be staying on the field, being able to elongate drives, and finish with 7 points in the red zone and not 3.
Austin, Matt playing?
He's on the roster.
I saw the roster. That wasn't my question.
Yeah, well, he's on the roster, so you'd expect for him to play. McGloster, yeah, he's on the roster. He's going to start and play. Yep.
If he can, because he's a game time decision, will you be able to add Venturelli at that point?
Yep, that's the plan. If it comes to that, that would be the way we would go. Yep.
You have the pulse of this team better than anybody, certainly in this room. So what do you feel is the mood 24 hours in advance, and what's going to make the difference?
Well, I mean, execution is going to make the difference. Playing together is going to make the difference. Making plays, playing to our ability, our toughness, and our effort, which is what we pride ourselves on each and every play, and playing together and for one another, because it's not going to be easy, and not everything's going to always go our way, but we're going to play together and for one another. That's the expectation. What's the pulse? I mean, I think our guys are excited about an opportunity that we've known we were going to be here for quite a long time, but yet we've continued to work and tried to get better, and I feel like we feel like we're at our best right now, and that's the expectation, to go out and play our best football, all 3 phases together, all 45 guys playing for Montreal, Quebec in the 4-2-5, and doing that at extremely high level.
In the football career, there are some games that you play football for these games. Tomorrow maybe will be one of these games. How is it important for you to have this message for the player, like embrace the opportunity?
Yeah, I think that's what you do. I mean, not everyone's afforded this opportunity each and every year that you play. So when they do come, you got to take advantage of it. But how do you do that? I mean, to me, it's trusting your process, which is what we do every single day. Trust what's gotten us here, and that's being together and working extremely hard. That's you got to trust that that's what's going to continue to have success, and it's going to allow you to take advantage of this opportunity and trust your instincts. At the end of the day, I mean, they've been coached well, I believe. I think our guys have worked hard. They've done everything right. It's now going out and play to your ability, and I think our guys will do that. That's what I'm excited for. I think that's the expectation of our unit. So when you look at the whole picture, it is just another game. It's just a big one, and we understand that, but we're built for that, and we're going to take advantage of it.
Has this felt like a long 2 weeks to you?
In some ways, yes. I mean, it's been 6 practices that we've gone through because we put ourselves through the rigor last week, competing against one another, doing it for 3 straight days, taking the day 4 to do what we do here, and then we just didn't play a game on Saturday, gave them time off. But it's been a long 2 weeks because I think the anticipation of this game continues to grow. But again, that's where I go back to just trust the process, trust what we do, and rely on that instinct once the moment comes. And our guys are hardwired for that. We've trained excessively for it, and I think we've had success because of it.
Except for the win, playing a home game is that important? Except for
playing home, is it important? I think yes. I mean, I think every year you'd want to do exactly what's been afforded to us this time around. I think every year your goal, obviously, the ultimate goal is, for us, is to win the 9th Grey Cup for this franchise. How you do that, the best way to do that is to have the best record in the league and best record in the East, and have one game to get to a Grey Cup, and do it in front of your fans that support us each and every week. And how special it is, when we feel like who we play for is Montreal, Quebec, and the 425. Like, that's important to us as a fabric, and so you want to be able to lift that Eastern Division trophy in front of them and tell them how appreciative we are of what they do for us each and every game. So, that's a pride thing, and, our guys are looking forward to that.
How much has what you did to Toronto last year been a bit of a lesson for you guys now that the rules are reversed?
Well, I think you go into the game, thinking anything other than execution and staying in the moment. Do all those thoughts creep into your mind? I'm sure it's human nature to do that, but the focus on task should be, let's do our jobs. And we faced adversity during the season. It's not like the season's been extremely easy for us. We've had injuries, we've had losses that we've had to overcome and get better for. There's been games where it's been extremely tight, where we had to overcome at the end to win them. So the road here has not been easy. So in games that when everything can appear one way and it flips to another way, you got to overcome, adapt and overcome. And our guys do a great job of just sticking together and playing for each other and fighting and competing to the very end. Our guys will do that each and every play. And, obviously there's going to be some really good and some really bad. At any point in any game. And our guys will lift each other up, and we'll play for the moment every single time. And that's what has been instructed, but also ingrained in our guys. So, I'm not too concerned about what happened last year. I think we've all seen it. We all lived it. A lot of us did on this team, lived it. So it's just more of just focusing on task at hand and dealing with adversity if it comes our way. And just realize we're going to be in a fight for 60 minutes or however long it takes, and the expectation is to come out victorious.
Maybe the same applies to Chad Kelly, but you played quarterback in this league, you've been around a lot of quarterbacks. Is there a mental hurdle there?
I think part of it is probably exercise from last week's performance for him. He played extremely well in their playoff game, and I think every loss, every bad play probably sits with a quarterback more than the good ones do. But again, it's your ability to flush it and move on to the next that's important. So he's had that experience, and he's probably a better quarterback because of it. So we're going to face the best Kelly that we've seen because he's gone through that adversity. But everyone has to deal with it, and everyone does differently. So our focus will be on playing their offense, playing the guy back there, and continue to do what we do defensively.